Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime? Ain't that right, partner? So, that video is the only direct evidence we have. Well, that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Yeah, you bet your ass. Alright. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Ah, fuck. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jack Marshall. Yeah, I think I know it. I think I know what it is. Okay. And then pans back again. And boom. How do you explain this, fucker? Bring our attention back to the security camera. Here's a mistake I'm afraid you'll not soon forget, Officer Marshall. Days are short in Texas, and so are tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Alright, very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Yep. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Come on. Oh god, come on. Can I fast forward? Fuck. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at that time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order, order! It would seem that's hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a one man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I'll call your bluff. You say open that locker? Now prove it. Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Want proof? Take that. Hey, fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. Hey, case the locks on the obvious. Even some people on the phones that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order! 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 Witness, explain yourself. This is a joke. It's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Ole! Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Right about here. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified the man's reaction when confronted. I entered the evidence room. I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me! Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have heard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. Can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Heck! This can't be happening. So obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what me used to tell me. Phoenix, try to think outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps a video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. I think I know that too. Swipe, smash, clang, nope. Hold on. Oh, there you go. Here we go. There was blood on it, Your Honor. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only as half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would you? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. Alright. Seems the time has come. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Excuse me. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? Yes, a 9 incident. 2 years ago, passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transfer that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. Evidence is not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. You pull a knife on Officer Meekins and try to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry I had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So he knocked Officer Meekins out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go in the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. Security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you blooded your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. Someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day, there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. But the blood found on the scene certainly indicates the crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So, you sold the evidence from the locker? Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. Witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the S9 incident. You know why? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dock was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dock case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down in that trial. Something no one would talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. Yeah, I think I know why. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yep, I'm sure you've heard that name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gann, then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was just arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. That's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more in my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which, in turn, means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. Whoa. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial? Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me that you live to laugh. Seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries of the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Also, murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Arrgh! I rest my case. Fuck. It seems to me that this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time of the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Your Honor, wait! Emma, the defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right?
Miss Wright, are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor?
Oh, in a sense, please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
I was kind of in a shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings?
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky's sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So, I ran over there and looked at it again.
So did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me?
Oh boy!
Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident of the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be more use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. You don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Sure. Yeah. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. Huh. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense is simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use.
The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans?
What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. Right here. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well,
what?
That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot of the locker.
What? So that means, just exactly what does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found in that locker.
Don't look at me. I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, take it through scientifically.
Emma,
on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on the locker.
So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in?
Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time... someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been... Detective Goodman when he was really murdered! That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found in the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this.
Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place?
If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh! The ID card record!
Officer Meekins brought the blue badge panel in the evidence room at... Let's
see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy.
Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure it out. It couldn't have been me.
Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the pneumolaw test fluid that the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
Well, that would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 777-7777.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777-7777.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777777.
That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID card number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? Your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor officer operates.
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you'd keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question.
Yes?
No, not to you. To her.
Finn's sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
The SR9 incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. That trial 2 years ago, did you really use only legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time,
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Huh? Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. Before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant! Just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't...
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence.
See? That's what I'm talking about. No! No! Order! 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 Order!
Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. To be continued.